Mother's Day is supposed to be filled with love and gift giving, but on May 19th, 2021, it would turn one mother's world upside down and leave a community shaken to its core. The events that happened that day will leave you on the edge of your seat in shock and asking the question, why would he do that to that sweet girl? Life at 231 Cloisterbane Drive in Jacksonville was idyllic. The close-knit Bailey family eagerly anticipated the upcoming weekend. Saturday was Mother's Day, a special occasion to celebrate their wonderful matriarch. On Sunday, they had their joyous Bailey Sunday Fundays planned where they really enjoyed each other. The whole family enjoyed a delightful dinner together. They then made a visit to one of their older children's house and spent some time there. Finally, just before midnight, they returned home and went to bed. However, there was one exception: Tristyn, the youngest of the 5 siblings at 13 years old. While everybody else laid down for the night, she was in the garage on a video call with a guy who was wearing a baseball hat. Tristyn's older sister, Sophia, noticed this but decided to leave her alone and told her goodnight before heading off to bed. On Mother's Day morning, the Baileys were cooking for their mother, but Tristyn was missing. Her brother Tegan searched for her, but she was nowhere to be found. Concerned, the whole family woke up and began searching. Tristyn's phone was unreachable, and her phone, Snapchat, and Life 360 app locations were all turned off. None of her friends had any information either. At 10 a.m., Tristyn's mom, Stacy, called the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office to report her youngest child missing. The Mother's Day breakfast was forgotten as she feared for her daughter's safety. Tristyn Bailey was born on January 18, 2009 in St. Johns County, Florida. She excelled in school, attending Patriot Oaks Academy, and spent her after-school hours dedicated to cheerleading. Tristyn was part of various cheerleading teams and achieved success, notably winning the UCA championship with her team. Lively, inspiring, and kind, Tristyn was always there for her friends, supporting them against bullies and providing comfort after tough days. She made friends from all walks of life and touched the hearts of everyone who crossed her path. Now, she was gone, leaving her family puzzled about the reason behind her absence. The 911 dispatcher asked Stacy a series of questions. Was Tristyn behaving differently? Did she have new friends? A boyfriend? Did she sneak out regularly? Was she on any medication? Stacy did her best to answer the questions. Her daughter, Tristyn, had been a bit standoffish lately, but that's normal for a teen. Tristyn didn't have new friends or a boyfriend, and she never snuck out or took any medication. After reviewing a neighbor's surveillance videos, the police determined that Tristyn had snuck out of her house around midnight, likely going to a friend's place. Detectives searched the suburban neighborhood while questioning a few of her friends: Dofus Abshur III, also known as Trey, Aiden Fucci, and Samantha and Lena Creel. Trey stated that Tristyn visited his house at 12:30 a.m. but left after half an hour, and his alibi was confirmed by a neighbor's surveillance camera, clearing him as a suspect. Following Aiden's lead, the detectives learned about a suspicious person named Carlo, possibly with the last name Bonatti or Lindo, whom Tristyn had chatted with on Snapchat. It seemed she might have obtained some drugs and headed to a nearby amenities center where teens often gathered to use drugs. Lena and Trey confirmed this information. Detectives quickly obtained a picture of Carlo, a 22-year-old residing at 12508 Muscovy Drive in Jacksonville, Florida, driving a Ford pickup truck. They hurried to the address, but found nobody who knew a person named Carlo Bonatti or Carol Lindo. Their efforts seemed futile until another address, 1319 Fruit Cove Road, emerged. There, they encountered Marco, Carlo's brother, who confirmed their last name was Lindo. However, Carlo hadn't been there for several days. He was staying with his father after his truck broke down. Carlo's claim was supported when he confirmed the last time he was in St. Johns County was on May 1st. Unfortunately, it led to another dead end in the investigation. Despite efforts, the search for the missing teen continued. Helicopters scoured the area, but she remained elusive. Authorities issued a missing child alert, seeking public assistance to locate Tristyn, a 13-year-old blonde girl wearing a black and gray t-shirt with pink written on it, black Nike shorts, and checkered Vans. Daniel Hart, a resident in the neighborhood, anxiously hoped for the teenager's safe return. As he witnessed the sheriff's deputies going door to door and helicopters flying overhead, Tristyn's disappearance consumed his thoughts. Upon his wife's suggestion, he checked the woods near the cul-de-sac and the adjacent pond during his 5:30 p.m. run. After a short while, Daniel spotted a female body in a wooded area, wearing a black shirt and black Nike shorts, with muddy and disheveled hair. He was convinced it was Tristyn even before he made the 911 call. At 6:15 p.m., deputies arrived and confirmed the deceased victim as 13-year-old Tristyn Bailey. Her blonde hair was bloodied and matted, and her shirt had multiple holes. The autopsy later revealed that she had been stabbed 114 times, with 49 of the wounds inflicted while she was still alive, fighting against her attacker. Near her body, they discovered her cell phone, a gold-toned ring, a $20 bill, and a pink vape. The crime scene investigators retrieved a shoe impression, while a diver found a broken buck knife in the nearby pond. Later, the broken knife tip would be discovered inside Tristyn's scalp. Detectives couldn't fathom who would harbor such rage towards Tristyn to commit such a brutal murder, leaving no suspects in mind. Yet, during interviews with her friends, one person stood out, the very one who had led them on a wild goose chase, searching for a drug dealer, Aiden Fucci. Aiden was the last person seen with Tristyn that night. His timeline didn't make any sense, and his behavior was strangely peculiar. As deputies took him in for more questioning, he recorded a video of his friend Trey and a selfie of himself in the backseat of the patrol car, making a peace sign. Aiden posted this on Snapchat with a message asking if anyone had seen Tristyn lately. However, what caught detectives' attention was one of the replies that said, "You were with her, Aiden. You know what happened to her." Aiden Fucci, like Tristyn, attended Patriot Oaks Academy. However, he only got into the school by using a friend's home address to gain admission to that district. Within the school, the 14-year-old had a reputation as a bully, engaging in fights and creating disturbing drawings depicting mutilated bodies and eerie figures holding knives. Even his girlfriend had nothing positive to say about Aiden. She revealed that he frequently carried a knife and spoke about harming people, even mentioning himself as a potential target. He would often startle her by pretending to slit her throat or stab her, but the most shocking revelation was yet to be unveiled. A month before Tristyn's murder, Aiden confided in her about his plans to find someone walking at night, take them into the woods, and stab them. However, she never took his words seriously. When detectives arrived at Aiden's home on Castledale Court, he initially told them that he and Tristyn left Trey's house together, walked to a parkway, and then went their separate ways. He claimed he arrived home at 3 a.m. However, he couldn't explain why a 28-minute stroll from Trey's house took him 2.5 hours. His initial explanation was looking at the stars, but as they questioned him further, his story began to change. In his new account, Aiden claimed that when he and Tristyn reached the parkway, they didn't part ways. Instead, they kissed, and Tristyn attempted to touch him inappropriately. This angered him, and he pushed her, causing her to fall and hit her head on the ground. Aiden admitted he was uncertain if he saw Tristyn get up or not because he was feeling disoriented from smoking marijuana at Trey's place. Despite this, he left her there and spent the next 2 hours wandering the streets to calm down before eventually heading home. Suspecting Aiden knew more than he was letting on, the detectives questioned him about Tristyn's potential whereabouts and mentioned Carlo, the drug dealer. Concerned about his knowledge, they read him his rights and brought him in for questioning, accompanied by Trey, while they searched for Carlo. During the pat-down, deputies discovered a blue-handled folding knife on Aiden, which they handed over to his father, Jason Fucci. Initially, it seemed harmless, like a child playing with his father's belongings. However, knowing that a knife was involved in Tristyn's death, its presence took on a much darker significance. The detectives wanted to retrieve the knife for testing, but unfortunately, Aiden's father had lost it. That night, Aiden, along with his father and his mother, Crystal Smith, were placed in an audio and video recorded interview room at the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office. As they sat alone in the room, Crystal and Jason kept telling Aiden not to speak about any involvement he might have in Tristyn's death. They also told him that the room was recorded and he shouldn't speak till his lawyer got there. Yet, they couldn't help themselves and asked Aiden what had gone on that night. The 14-year-old repeated the second story he had given detectives. When he was done, Crystal asked him what he had worn that night. When Aiden said jeans, she persuaded Aiden to say he had been wearing khakis that night, if anyone asked. She also didn't allow officers to take DNA samples from Aiden and insisted on waiting for their lawyer. But when the lawyer came, the parents would be left in tears when they realized the officers had a lot more on Aiden and he would not be going home. Aiden's father, Jason, stopped talking and resorted to texting on his phone, exchanging messages with his son to avoid being heard by the police through the cameras. However, their efforts to shield Aiden came too late. During a search at Aiden's home, police discovered a buck knife sheath that perfectly matched the knife found near Tristyn's body. They also uncovered 8 pocket knives, blood-stained wet sneakers, a bloodied t-shirt, and damp blue jeans. Additionally, a bathroom sink drain close to his room tested positive for blood. Aiden had scratches and cuts on his hands and shoulders, further incriminating evidence he couldn't evade. Less than 24 hours after Tristyn was reported missing, Aiden Fucci was charged with second-degree murder. The arrests at the Fucci home weren't over. Police discovered a CCTV camera inside the house, revealing that one of Aiden's parents knew about his sinister actions. During the initial police questioning of Tristyn's friends, Aiden's parents granted permission for him to be interviewed. His mother, Crystal, immediately went to his room and discovered a pair of bloodied jeans. She attempted to clean the blood from them, even seeking approval from a neighbor to ensure they appeared clean before returning them to his room. However, Crystal was charged with evidence tampering in connection to her son's murder and was subsequently booked into the St. Johns County Sheriff's Detention Center. Call records and numerous surveillance videos in the neighborhood allowed detectives to reconstruct the events of that night. Trey, who had been suspended from school and grounded, had Aiden as his friend. On the night of May 8, 2021, Aiden came over to hang out, and they spent some time skateboarding on the driveway before playing video games inside. Later, around 30 minutes before midnight, after smoking marijuana, Trey reached out to several friends, urging them to sneak out and join the gathering at his house, including Tristyn. Tristyn had just arrived home with her family and wasn't initially sure if she would join the gathering. Shortly after, Aiden called her, having obtained her number from Trey, and earnestly urged her to come over. Despite having only communicated on Snapchat and at school, Tristyn agreed, and within 5 minutes, she skillfully navigated around the CCTV cameras and entered the house. For about half an hour, Tristyn hung out with both boys. At 1 a.m., Aiden and Tristyn said their goodbyes and left together. Instead of heading home, surveillance cameras captured them walking through the neighborhood and heading towards the location where Tristyn's body was later discovered. Aiden wore shorts, a light-colored hooded sweatshirt, and white shoes with a black Nike logo, while Tristyn was in black pants and a black shirt. Unfortunately, this would be the last time she was seen alive. The next footage showed only one figure walking away from the area, carrying the white shoes in hand. It was Aiden Fucci, returning home early that morning after brutally stabbing Tristyn to death. His mother heard him come back home shortly after 3 a.m. Aiden was held without bond at a state-run juvenile detention facility in Volusia County while the prosecution determined whether he would be tried as an adult. An online petition with hundreds of thousands of signatures urged for Aiden to be tried as an adult for first-degree murder. Eventually, a grand jury indicted him on a first-degree murder charge, leading to his trial as an adult. On February 23, 2023, 16-year-old Aiden pleaded guilty to first-degree murder. During the sentence hearing, he read a 17-page statement apologizing and citing mental health issues. Surprisingly, his mother was absent but sent a letter pleading for a shorter sentence for her son. After $36,000 in therapy sessions and months of grief, the Bailey family confronted Tristyn's murderer and made emotional statements about the impact of the murder on their lives. Tristyn's sister, Alexis, placed 114 teal-colored stones in a jar, symbolizing each time Aiden stabbed her younger sibling. Tristyn's mother, haunted by her daughter's final moments, tearfully pleaded with the judge not to show leniency, stating, "He is beyond saving." As Aiden was tried as an adult, he avoided the death penalty due to being a minor. The judge was deeply affected, not only by the absence of motive in the crime, but also by the fact that Tristyn and Aiden had been friends. Despite their friendship, he killed her because he had the desire to kill someone, anyone. Aiden Fucci received a 40-year-to-life sentence. After 25 years, his sentence will be reconsidered, but his behavior at the juvenile home indicates he will likely remain behind bars for a significant period. He engaged in fights, possessed contraband, threatened other inmates, and displayed aggression toward guards. On more than one occasion, he had to be pepper sprayed and restrained. Aiden even boasted to another inmate about stabbing Tristyn face to face. Currently held at the juvenile section of Suwannee Correctional, a once maximum security prison for a young serial killer named Craig Price. Aiden will transition to the maximum security prison population when he turns 18. Aiden's mother, Crystal, reached a plea deal to avoid another trial focusing on what Tristyn had endured. She pleaded no contest to tampering with evidence, resulting in a 30-day jail sentence and 5 years of probation. Mother's Day is forever altered for the Bailey family, but they are ensuring Tristyn's legacy lives on by sponsoring a youth mental health program, a community-focused gym with self-defense classes, and a scholarship program.